Welcome back to Are You Serious?, where I talk about ways to be a serious writer. My name is Jessica Klimesh. I'm a creative writer, writing coach, and editor. And today I want to talk about rejection, specifically literary rejection. I love rejection, literary rejection, that is. Why? Because publishing is a numbers game. The more rejections you get, the more publications you're likely to get. In my role as a writing coach, I try to emphasize to the writers that I work with that rejection is a positive thing. There's a reason why writerly wisdom tells you to aim for 100 rejections a year. 100 is basically an arbitrary number, but it's based in logic, the idea of aiming for 100 rejections per year. So let's look at why. Well, first of all, rejection means that you've put yourself out there, that you've tried, and that is huge, trust me. Because believe it or not, a lot of writers do not do that. They do not take that step. They play it safe, either by not submitting at all or only submitting to places that they think they're likely to get published in. And there's nothing wrong with doing that either. It all comes down to what your goals are as a writer. But if you're not submitting to literary journals simply out of fear of failure, I urge you to change your mindset, and hopefully I will help you do that in this video. A literary rejection is not failure, not at all. Quite the opposite, actually. It's proof of your seriousness as a writer, and it's proof of your bravery because it takes guts to send your work out into the world, to people that don't even know you. The second thing to keep in mind is, as I mentioned at the beginning, publishing is a numbers game. Many journals receive hundreds and hundreds of submissions, and obviously they can't accept them all. They can't publish them all. So let's make the math easy. Say a journal receives 100 submissions and they're only looking for 5. Is 95% of what they received unpublishable? No, of course not. They just don't have room to publish everything. The editors have to be very discerning, and this is one reason why it's really important to always follow submission guidelines and always to make sure that your work is edited and proofread before you submit it somewhere. And this is also why if you receive a positive rejection, you should celebrate. To date, for 2025 so far, I've had 58 rejections. And this is actually a low number for me. A couple of years ago, by this time of the year, I'd already received 100 rejections. And it's not surprising that the year that I received many more rejections, I also had a lot more work published as well. Again, it's a numbers game. And everybody's juggling different responsibilities, so it's not always feasible to submit enough work where you're getting 100 rejections per year. It's not always practical, and it also depends a little bit on what kind of writing you're doing. What's important to keep in mind, though, is if you set a really low goal, like, say, 10 rejections per year, again, to make the math simple, you might not get any publications. And that has nothing to do with the quality of your work. I mean, it might have something to do with the quality of your work, but not necessarily. Again, you need to remind yourself that journals are receiving a lot of submissions. A rejection does not mean that your work is not publishable. There's many reasons why a journal might reject your work, and they often have to reject stellar work all of the time just because they don't have space to publish everything. So what can you do to make sure you're submitting your best work to a journal to make sure that everything comes back rejected? One thing you can do is get feedback from some trusted writing peers, and also working with a writing coach or editor, such as myself, is another option. A quick word about getting feedback from other people. I've been involved in writing communities for over 25 years, so I have some trusted writing peers that I regularly exchange work with. But if you're new to exchanging work with writing peers, there's some limitations that you might want to be aware of, as there's some kinds of feedback that can actually hinder your progress as a writer. And that's especially true for newer writers. For more information about that, you can check out my previous video of worst writing advice, or check back for my next video on why you don't need thick skin to be a writer, as some people say. You just need better writing feedback. If you found this video useful, please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Thank you.